Hello everybody and welcome to VFR. Today we are here on the ground at Whiskey 05 Gettysburg Travel Stop Airport, and we're going to be departing out towards Allegheny County and the city of Pittsburgh on what should be about a 45-minute flight. So we're going to knock another chunk of Transcon off. I don't have a ton of time tonight, but we're going to squeeze this in and yeah, make it work, make some progress towards that Pacific Ocean. So thank you all for coming along. If you're just joining us, we are in the Cessna 310R flying across the United States. So last time out, we went from New York City to Gettysburg, just about around Philadelphia, New Jersey too. So now we're at Gettysburg. We have a nice little small runway. We will we'll plan to get off here and head up to Pittsburgh, specifically Allegheny County Regional Airport. So first, we have a little bit of flight planning to do. So let's go ahead and get our get SkyVector out. So SkyVector should have everything in a second. There it is. So SkyVector, we are, to refresh our memory, we flew out from the end of Long Island out, I think, at Montauk. And then all the way in. And now we are coming to, we're here at Gettysburg. Now, departing out of Gettysburg, we are currently at an elevation of about 500 feet. We have some mountains ahead of us, peaks up to, looks like about 3,000 feet, so we will have to climb relatively quickly. And then we also have this restricted area down here, which is a government facility of some kind. So we're going to be, we'll be mindful of that and avoid it. So we'll try to stay to the north as we climb out. So we may climb out of the field away towards Harrisburg up here. So this is Harrisburg. Kilo Mike Delta Tango is this international airport. So we'll climb up this way. And then once we're ready, we'll make the turn left and start crossing these mountains, get back on the magenta line. I mean, we're just basically going direct, and that should work okay. We do have Arnold Palmer Regional that we'll have to keep an eye out for. And then once we get to Allegheny County, that is on kind of the south side of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh International, Cape Pitt, is up here. So we won't quite be there, but we are going to be under the shelf. So field elevation is 1,200 feet, and the Bravo, yes, the Pittsburgh class Bravo goes down to 4,000 feet here with some other chunks out of it. So we'll have to be at or below 4,000, and it is a towered airport. So if we do have anyone online, we will have to talk to them to land at Allegheny County. But I'm not going to really program in anything else other than that. It should be a fairly straight shot. If we want to overfly Johnstown, we can do that. But this is going to be basically, yeah, overflying the Allegheny Mountains, flying over southwestern Pennsylvania. And on in, it doesn't look like we have, I believe this is going to fall under Cleveland Center. So we doesn't look like we have Cleveland Center online just yet. But we will keep an eye on that as the night progresses. Let me fire up Sim Toolkit Pro. We will get into the into the airplane, get fired up, and get on our way. Thank you all for coming along today on the second leg of Transcon 22. It's going to be a shorter leg due to some real-life constraints, but we will make it. All right, so let's start a new flight here. I don't really use the VFR flight planning stuff here as much in Sim Toolkit Pro, but I am enjoying the new one. Or the new update. So we need to go. I wish I could still type in stuff. That's Harrisburg. We're down in Gettysburg. Which is, so you can watch me fumble with Sim Toolkit Pro too. Harrisburg is here. We know we're somewhere down here. Gettysburg Regional going to be here. So KW05. We'll depart it. And then we will arrive at Alpha Golf Charlie, which is the Allegheny County. Should be here. Arrive at. And from there, we'll keep an eye on that, the Arnold Palmer airspace there. But should be fine. So let's fly that now. We are going to be, we're 866 Tango Whiskey today. And for now, should have 866 Tango Whiskey. I'll put it under another 310 if not. And we are on VATSIM tonight. All right, we're ready to go here. Let's get into the airplane and get started. I'm also going to connect to VATSIM 866 Tango Whiskey. We are at C310 today. All right, into the airplane and getting fired up. So right now we're going to have another passenger in our front right, and we will have baggage. So we did bring some nose baggage, some rear baggage. Now we had 3/4 fuel before we left. We're at about 50% fuel now, and I think we're going to leave it that way. Should be plenty to get to get where we're going. We'll close our front passenger doors too. All our covers are off. They should be on, but that's all right. Okay. So, getting fired up here, getting into the swing of things. Let's get the battery on. Can beep at me. Let's get nav lights on, too. And, yeah, so let's get... We got a pretty simple flight plan, so we can just go ahead and start up. We have, if I was a good pilot, I closed the fuel valves. I did. Good. Opposite of what you think. We'll put that onto the mains to start, and let me adjust some controls too. Because we're not flying a 737, we're flying a twin. All right, so you can hear it yelling at me a little bit. Here we go. We're ready to go. Let's make sure all those work. That's a good start. It's a good start. Good start. All right, so props. We'll start the left engine first. Props full forward, mixture full rich. Everything else is okay, although it's catching on my parking brake. For some reason. Alright, so that's good. Left engines, left magnetos on. We can turn our beacon light on too. We're getting ready to start up, open up our window. We do have everything clear from the airplane. Looks like it. They're at a safe distance away. So let's fire it up. Magneto's on, fuel is on. We're going to go to left engine. And we're good to go. Didn't like that. What am I missing? Oh, a little bit of throttle would help, wouldn't it? Open up the throttle and try that again. And there, roars to life. Let's keep a little in, let it warm up. Mixture full rich, prop full forward on the right engine. And low fuel pump here. And that'll get us something, alright. Close up the window. We can get avionics on. And punching our flight plan real quick. We are at Whiskey 05. And we are going to Kilo Alpha Golf Charlie. I'm not sure what that clicking is. It's one of these switches. I can't remember which one it is, but it doesn't play nicely with the Alpha. Okay. That's it. We have a magenta line. And again, we'll be kind of departing out to the north here from Gettysburg and then making a left once we've crossed out over where we need to be. Alright. Everything else is good. I can't see the clicking. So let's do a quick weather check here. I've learned. Well, we'll see if we can actually do this. Whiskey 0. I get any weather? No METAR available. Whiskey 05, but at we can probably get one at Allegheny. Alpha Golf Charlie. Nothing, huh? Let's check METAR TAF. So we're seeing 5-knot wind, 310, so wind 310 at 5, 73 degrees and clear, altimeter 3021 at Allegheny. Let's see if they have any info on Whiskey 05. Wind 330 at 33022 on the altimeter. 3022. And wind is 3 knots at 330. So that's not a ton. So we have 2, 4, and 6 here at Gettysburg. So we're actually on the 2-4 end. So we'll just taxi out to 2-4 and take 2-4 for departure. Alright, so I think we're ready to go. Let's rock and roll. Let's file a flight plan and get going. So we are going to be VFR today. We are going to be going from Whiskey 05 to Kilo Alpha Golf Charlie. Alternate will be returning to the field. We're going to be departing in about now, so call it 2300. We'll call it an hour flat. It's less than that, 170 knots. And we will cruise somewhere around 5,500. And we're just going to go VFR to the west. none of those. That's really bugging me. I can't see what it is. Anyway, let's also check out our cabin. Cabin is comfortable and steady, so that's good. All right, let's roll out and get going. We need to be on Unicom 122.8. Gettysburg regional traffic, twin Cessna 866 Tango Whiskey. We're at Gettysburg, Whiskey 05. We're going to be taking runway 24, departing out to the north and the west, Gettysburg. And I'm just going to roll forward on the grass. We're already on the grass, so why worry too much about it? We are going to use flaps, so let's go flaps 15 here. Roll all the way to the end of the runway. This is a 5,000-foot runway, so we do want to be somewhat cognizant of that. We don't have a ton of runway to work with, and then we're going to come right once we're off the runway, so right off the runway. Let's get all the way up here, center ourselves. Neatly and get going. I'm going to hold on the brakes. Full power. Rolling. That's inconvenient. I also don't have my right fuel pump on, so that's what's causing that to not go. Oh my goodness. That's 80 knots. Let's rotate and get off of here. Woo! Flaps up. Gear coming up. Oh, that is a brutal stutter. And we are bringing controls back. Yikes. Alright, so we're off now. We're up and away. That was some real nasty stuttering. I do apologize for that. That's no fun. Or anyone involved. But we are away. Let's make a call. Gettysburg traffic, twin Cessna 866 Tango Whiskey. We are climbing through 1,500 and up to 5,500 out to the north of the field. Gettysburg. Let's make that happen, and we'll just keep an eye on any kind of air traffic control that may come our way. And again, we're flying over the mountains now on our way west towards Philadelphia, or towards Pittsburgh, not Philadelphia, other way. And we are going to be flying over the Allegheny mountain range here, which is a part of the Appalachian mountain range, obviously, going all the way north to south, but specifically the part mostly running through Pennsylvania and into West Virginia. So a lot of the area we're going to cross over is very heavily, you know, that. Pittsburgh and West Virginia are very close together, in case you don't know that. Not that close, but... And then basically we're flying out to Pittsburgh, and then on to Ohio is the next one. But these mountains might be the last we see for a little while till we get to the Rockies. Still not very tall. Again, we're looking at a highest peaks of around Well, I didn't see what it was. 3,500, 4,000 feet, which out west is nothing, but out here it is a significant mountain formation. I don't know, did I get everything off of the max that it needed? We need a little less RPM. And we'll just keep climbing out this way. So we are now on our way. And again, not a super long flight, pretty casual flight. Especially if we get some ATC down at Allegheny, you know, that'd be great. And if not, that's all right too. So climbing out now, we'll keep an eye on Sim Toolkit Pro too. See where we are. I haven't pre-filed my plan, and that is all right. So we're making our jump over these first mountains here, just outside of Gettysburg now. I'm not sure what these are called. But then we'll have a larger stretch once we get out there. And again, these mountains were really the first barrier people had, settlers had, when they came to the U.S. This held up westward expansion for a while. Let's get out the map. So flying over South Mountain now. I think that's off to our left. And so basically this little mini range. Up to our north is the Piney Mountains. And we're actually just about cross over the Appalachian Trail, which runs through here. So just down there is part of the hiking trail that goes, I believe, over 2,000 miles from Maine to northern Georgia. Crazy thing to be able to do, to walk that whole thing. It takes a whole summer, and it is really spectacular. Spectacular achievement if you're into hiking and stuff like that. But we're in a plane today, so we'll be moving a little bit quicker. We're almost to 5,500. Let's keep it climbing. And then we'll get set up for cruise. We can also, at that point, start to talk about what we're going to do when we get into Allegheny. That's about good there. And because this is kind of a shorter leg of the trip, I'm going to hand fly this for the most part, unless there's something we really need to take pictures of. But yeah, out over these long valleys between mountain ridges that are really pretty much running parallel to each other. That's a very Pennsylvania geographical feature. Very common in this area, just very different even from further south in West Virginia. It's a lot less these long ridges. But up here it is a very pronounced fact. We'll try and hold that. We've got Chambersburg off our nose. And then we're going to continue on over the Alleghenies. All the way across. All these ridges in front of us. Again, it's not that high. We're looking at 4,000 feet at most. But I do really enjoy the lower mountains. Good fun place to be. So thank you all for coming along, for just joining us. We are on our transcontinental flight 2022. We had departed New York for Gettysburg last time. We flew down past Manhattan, so check that out. I believe it's on the channel. If you missed episode 1, episode 2, we're here doing a short flight, really, on this one from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, specifically Allegheny County Regional Airport, which was the original airport for the Pittsburgh area before they built the new Pittsburgh International Cape Pitt. So we're heading out to Kilo Alpha Golf Charlie today. Weather is beautiful. It's 73 degrees. Very few clouds. Light winds. So really a great day to fly VFR. We're cruising here at 5,500 feet. We are on the VATSIM network. And yeah, not a ton of control on yet, but if we do get, if Cleveland Center comes online, or Pittsburgh Approach probably, we'll have to talk to them to see about going into Allegheny. Getting a little off the rails here, so let's turn back to the left. If we kept going in that direction off our right wing, you would hit State College, Pennsylvania, where Penn State University is. And we got Altoona up that way somewhere too, on the Altoona Curve minor league baseball team. So we're going to overfly a couple airports. We've got a Flying R airport down below us on the, I think, in one of the valleys. And then Bedford County Airport after that. We'll pass over another regional airport. There we'll be over the Class Delta at that point. Arnold Palmer goes up to 3,700 above sea level. So that should be fine, and we're trying not to gain too much altitude here. But enjoy the hills and mountains while we have them, because we won't have them for much longer for a while. Mountain flying is fun, especially if you can find some good strips. Out here, it's just, yeah, it's not as extreme as some of the other ones in Idaho and in Colorado and the big ones, which we will get to, of course. We'll cross those mountains when we get to it, but there's fun mountain flying out here too. It's just mostly smaller less remote stuff, although even in West Virginia you can get some good remote strips. Green Bank Observatory is around here. That's one I've recorded twice. It's been messed up twice. But that's a fun flight, like from Washington Dulles or from Reagan, yeah, that's a good flight, a good hour out to the Green Bank National Radio Observatory. It's in a further south. It's in a valley in the mountains of West Virginia, and it's this area where there's not that much radio interference. So they have special, policies in and around the small town there to limit radio interference and radio signals. And it's a great place for a big radio telescope. So if you do want to fly that, I think there's a scenery on flightsim.to, but it's a good day flight from Dulles or DCA. I like to do it on VATSIM and do a little mix of IFR and VFR. I depart IFR from the big planes and then cancel in the air and go VFR to Green Bank. That's a fun one. And it's a good fun strid. It's a really cool approach because you get the telescopes off the far end of the runway if you have the scenery installed. It's definitely pretty cool. And we're making a solid 168 across the ground, so that'll do. We're at 5,300 feet. That's pretty good. Everything else is looking all right. It's a great day, great scenery, great VFR flying today. Couldn't ask for better weather. So the look ahead for this, once we get to Pittsburgh, probably on the next stream, we'll start making our crossing across Ohio, Indiana. It'll probably be a lot, but we might be able to make Chicago in the next flight. So that might be a 2.5-hour flight from Pittsburgh, maybe 3 hours in the 310, depending on what route we go. If we're going direct, maybe a little less, but going through Dayton, that might be a 2 or 3 hour flight. So that's a good next leg, but we might try to make Chicago or at the end of the next one. I think that would be a good goal where we stop somewhere along there, either Dayton or Indianapolis. Most likely. So again, let's pull up the VFR chart from SimToolkit Pro. Just check out where we are. We are here, just about coming over flying hour here in this valley. We're going to go over Sidling Hill. Just keep going over these ridges again. We're now firmly into the mountainous area, but it's, again, these long parallel ridges that are very, very distinctive geologically, too. But flying down this way, you get Altoona up to the north. You also get the Pennsylvania Turnpike roughly following this direction. So a very historic, obviously a road, but it is, the fastest way across the state. So that'll run all the way to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And then, we come over here, and then we start getting into Allegheny County, right on the edge of Pittsburgh, which is right here in downtown. You can see the mark for Heinz Field as it all loads in. And it comes off at the confluence of the Ohio and the Allegheny rivers, I believe. But I'm kind of making that up. Again, real interesting, real nice, feel like mountains. Good place to drive in, too, if you enjoy driving. It can be very pretty on a good drive. Be good for Truck Simulator. That's all good. Let's just get a little light in here too. And keep it going. We have about 85 miles, so once we're really clear of these mountains, we'll be really thinking about descending. And lots of good stuff coming up too. Obviously awaiting Sim Update 10. I'm hoping it helps with some of these stutters. I'm not sure what's going on. These have been the worst stutters on this flight. Those two that we got. I hope they don't come back on landing, but I'm Not feeling real confident. But hopefully Sim Update 10 has some performance help, some new features that come in, and then World Update 11, right, for Canada should be a good fun one too. I'm sure there'll be good flying there. So we'll try and do that. I believe that's coming out next week or the week after, maybe. But again, should all be fun, and we'll be there covered. I don't know what the new plane is for Canada, but the local legend. We shall see. And then obviously we get to November, we get some new airplanes with the 40th anniversary edition, which should be really cool. The 80 builds A300. Is it 300 or 310? I can't remember, but one of those should be fun. A good old Airbus. DC-3. We can do some DC-3 flying. Those will definitely be really good. So thank you all for coming along on Transcon 2022. Taking the Cessna 310R with in owner's mode, so everything, however I leave it, is how we get it back next. Good fun use of the state-saving features of an airplane like this. Certainly. And again, we're going to be out for about 45 minutes, so not really enough to think about going down to the aux tanks. We should have plenty in the mains. We had about 50% when we left. Should be more than enough for our purposes. So it is nice. We'll be pretty light, and then once we get into Allegheny, we can really fuel up and load up and get out of there, because that's just, you know, got some significant runways. Let's do some planning while we're here. Put that on. All right. So, Allegheny County Airport is here. We've got a runway 10 and 28. It's going to be the longer one, 6,500 feet. We also have 1331 on the crossing, which we shouldn't need based on the weather that I have. We're going off of METAR TAF. Kilo Alpha Golf Charlie. About 360 at 3 knots. So if we're going on 10-2A, we get a crosswind, but about a 3-knot crosswind should be okay. Altimeter 3021 right now. And this is really cool, actually. I figured out how to do this in some Toolkit Pro, which is a huge, so we've got all the websites in here. We could actually do SkyVector on there, too. Oh, but I'm not logged in. But it lets you save a bunch of websites there if you, in case you need it, which is real helpful. I'm sure that was always there, but I just found that out. Airport, do we have any approaches? We have an ILS for 10 or 2.8, so if we needed the ILS, we could take it. We don't need it today, but we might. In case we got ATC coverage, we'd need to be able to, you know, tell them what we want to do. It's good stuff. Just checking on engines, and everything's looking all right. We could probably lean out the mixture a bit. That's pretty good. Making sure everything else is in the green. We are. And that's Hotel Mike Zulu, which I believe is Bedford Regional Airport. And the mountains march on. Control again. You don't have to yell at me. All right. Lots of fun stuff to look forward to. Lots of good things to fly. It'll be interesting to see what the local legend is. Yeah, right now this trip is the favorite GA thing going on right now for me. Keep it rolling. By my count, we have 2, maybe 3 more ridges, and then we're starting to think about Allegheny County. Again, the Pittsburgh class Bravo starts at 4,000 feet. The Allegheny Delta is at 3,800, so we'd have to talk to Allegheny no matter what, because it's a towered airport. No, but we shouldn't have to talk to anyone at Pittsburgh if we do not wish to. Messing around with some Toolkit Pro on the side. So 5,400 feet now. Still pretty good again. 4,000 feet once we're getting close to Pittsburgh. But ideally we'd stay up here at 5,500 to until we're over on Arnold Palmer, outside Latrobe, Pennsylvania. And once you get to a certain point to the west, It starts to get very Ohio-like, kind of hilly, eastern Ohio, very hilly Kentucky kind of terrain. So again, you kind of lose the long ridges formed by tectonic plates colliding, and I guess it's all formed by that, but it is interesting. And then off to our right, we take a look down there is Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, of the infamous Johnstown flood, one of the worst disasters in the 19th century. Basically, one of the I can't remember if it was an artificial lake, but one of the lakes had a dam on it, and there was a very rich person hunting and fishing and, you know, resort kind of thing on the lake. But the dam was not long for this world. It broke and then flooded the town. It was one of the worst disasters of the period. So that's all around this area. Very cheerful. And we're getting on about 50 miles to Allegheny County and Pittsburgh. And Allegheny County is going to be south of the city. Once we get into Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh International is actually a little bit to the west of the city. So it's on the west side, almost to the, not quite to the West Virginia line, but almost. And again, Pittsburgh's close to West Virginia, so there's a little sliver of West Virginia that comes up between Pittsburgh and, or between Pennsylvania and Ohio. Yeah, if we actually pull up the map here. Here's some Toolkit Pro. Maybe another view would be good too. Yeah, standard view's not great either. But yeah, so basically this part's West Virginia. It juts out a little bit out here around Pennsylvania. And then, so we'll probably fly through that eventually to get into Ohio. That's kind of where we're heading now. This southwestern corner of Pennsylvania. So let's get back to the cockpit. I'm gonna butcher your name, H.M. Dikashanani. I like the 310. I enjoy the flight dynamics. I can't speak for their realism. I've never flown a Cessna 310R, so I don't know, but it does feel, it feels fun from a sim pilot's perspective. It's definitely, it has a little bit more heft than some of the default airplanes. I think on final especially, you'll notice it. It likes to drop out of the sky if you pull the power out. So this isn't an airplane that's going to float on you. It's a tough airplane to land gracefully. That's, I think, realistic. So I enjoy it. I definitely think it's worth it. This is one of my go-tos. This might be my favorite GA plane out there. So yeah, definitely recommend 310, or this or the Just Flight Arrows are good. But I really like the piston twin, just because you get better speed and range and all that stuff. So very capable. We can do a trip like this and, you know, knock out a couple hundred miles in a session, which is helpful. But also, the state saving stuff is really good. So the cabin's cold. Uh-oh, I don't want people to be cold. Let's turn on the heater, open up cabin air a little bit, and I gotta jump over a little bit too to get defrost going. Just a bit. Shivering up here. It doesn't take much to lose that temperature. Let's also do just a quick fuel check. We're looking at about 80 pounds of fuel in both tanks. And the aux tanks, we have another 50 to go. So we should be just fine on fuel. Cool, but warming slowly. Well, let's crank that up. Where's cabin air? Let's keep it kind of warm. And let that heat in. Want to make sure we open the air so we don't blow out the heater. That would be good. That would behoove us as a pilot. Yeah, I've made my share of non-graceful landings on this channel, but it is fun. It's fun for that reason. It's something to get better at, and but also just kind of feels different. Good, bad, or ugly. And I haven't flown like the Cessna 410, the 414. I haven't flown that one, so I can't really compare it to probably the most comparable one, the one by FlySimware, I think. But still, I enjoy it for what it's worth. Alright, and then, yeah, once we're past these mountains, guys, that's gonna be it for a while, so get ready for flat land. It will be hilly through eastern Ohio, and then that stops too. Just keeping half an eye on Cleveland Center, make sure they don't pop up on us. That would be a risk, just because we wouldn't get a contact me or anything, really, until we're entering the pattern at Allegheny. Thank you all for coming along and just joining us. We are on Transcon 2022, the second leg of our trip across the United States and North America. We departed New York on the last one. We went through New York City, up through Trenton, Princeton, Philadelphia, and then out to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We departed Whiskey 05, Gettysburg Regional Airport, about a half hour, 40 minutes ago. We're just moving a quick, short flight here to Pittsburgh, specifically Allegheny County Airport. We've got runway 10, runway 28. Looks like we'll take one of those. We do have a crosswind, but as long as that crosswind stays benign, we should be okay. We've got wind 360 at 3. At the moment. But again, thank you all for coming along, support the channel. And yeah, enjoy. And the next one will probably be taking down some of Ohio, maybe into Indiana. I would love to get to Chicago if we could on the next flight. Once we hit Chicago, then we're really talking about going west. And that'll be exciting. But I do like some good mountain flying, and we'll get back to that once we get out west. But just a different type of mountain flying here. The mountains are not nearly as tall, but still there are a lot of them. There's good mountain strips to fly into. Around this area, around West Virginia, there's lots of good stuff. I think you can see Arnold Palmer Airport, or Arnold Palmer Regional Airport, off our nose. Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Apparently it's named for Arnold Palmer because that's where Arnold Palmer learned how to fly. So, interesting. The dedication ceremony included the governor and a flyover of 3 A-10s, renaming the airport for Arnold Palmer. In case you were interested in. Spirit Airlines does fly, well, I don't know if they do anymore, but they fly some nonstop routes to this airport. Kilo Lima, Bravo Echo. Again, this has a class Delta down to up to 3,700 feet below us. Once we're past that, we're going to start descending down to something below 4,000 feet. So I'd say 3,500 should be just fine. Let me check and see what the minimum altitudes we're going to need are. Looks like 2,800, 3,500. So 3,500 should be good. And then once we're getting a little closer, we'll go on all the way down to 2,500. Allegheny County Airport is at an elevation of about 1,200 feet. Oh man, my trim just all off in rudder. And let's see, can we start to see Pittsburgh off our nose? Not really well, no. But there's Arnold Palmer Regional Airport. Now, is he from Pennsylvania? You'd assume so, but maybe not. Yeah, so he was born here in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Interesting. Very interesting. Maybe not to you, I don't know. So 20 miles out now, we're passing over. We're going to just, again, clear the delta and then start coming on down. We will origin up the mixtures bit in preparation for our descent. Now, if there's no other traffic, which thanks to the omniscience of VATSIM, looks like there is not at the moment. No ATC, we'll just plan a straight in for runway. Let me get the chart. We can plan a straight in for 28 would be ideal. Now, if we do want a localizer, we want to play that game. The localizer is going to be 109.1. 109.1. And I should be squawking too, shouldn't I? The final course of 281. We can go ahead and punch that in here. We're not really using it, but we could be. Once we start picking up the localizer, that'll be more important. So let's bring the power back, keeping it above 1,500 RPM or 1,500 inches of manifold pressure, and start our descent. That's the border of the Class Delta there. You can just start to see the blue line of the Pittsburgh Bravo coming in. And again, the Pittsburgh Bravo is at 4,000. The floor is at 4,000 feet here, so we're going to fly under the shelf pretty much the rest of the way into Allegheny County. And it looks like we've got a little bit of localizer signal here. I don't have it showing up. I don't have a DME yet, but that's alright. Let's keep coming down. We'll bring this back. We can richen up the mixtures and start thinking about our approach. Keeping an eye out. That hilly area generally out in front of us, Pittsburgh, it's still a little too far away to see well in the sim, but... And of course, Pittsburgh, city of three rivers. It sits right where the Ohio River, which we'll see a little bit more of as we fly into Ohio. The Allegheny River, which flows kind of north towards the Great Lakes. And the Monongahela River, which flows south through West Virginia. That all comes together at Pittsburgh. So that's 4,000 feet or close. I see a runway in the distance. You might too. That looks like something that might be inviting to us. About 10 miles out. So yeah, you could convince me that's a 10-mile final for 2-8. It's coming in. We are below the glide slope still, so let's keep that going. We'll have to bleed some speed once we get kind of down and configured. And then just checking out the ILS chart, not that we're flying in.
Allegheny traffic, stationary 387 hotels, taxi from over there, up to runway 10, Allegheny County.
So here we've got traffic at Allegheny County, taking runway, they're going to take 10, so I'm going to call off, I'm going to wave off my idea of coming straight in on 2-8. We're going to enter the pattern. We're going to enter a downwind to land runway 10. But let's take it down to, let's just check out the ILSs and see what the 2,500 feet. So we'll head down to about 2,500 feet for this final bit. Once we're just a little bit closer, once we're about, well, we can call it 5 to the south. We could call it now, too, I know. We're 10. Yeah, we're 10 to the east, let's call. And state our intentions. Allegheny traffic, Twin Cessna, 866 Tango Whiskey. We are about 10 to the east. Going to enter a right downwind to land runway 10, Allegheny. So if he can get up and running into the air before us, we can also switch. If we see him go off, we can slot in. We could still make that straight in. We could just kind of take a base for 2-8. The wind's I think the wind is still a pretty nasty, well, not nasty, but it's still just a full crosswind. Yeah, the wind's still 360 at 3 knots. So it's going to be a full crosswind pretty much no matter what we do. Let's keep the descent going. You can see downtown Pittsburgh off our right. Here, that's downtown Pittsburgh. Heinz Field, all that stuff is going to be down that way. And then Pittsburgh International is going to be, you can just about, I think, see the lights for Pittsburgh International off in the distance. But that's Cape Pitt. So let's get down to a good pattern altitude. And then just start slowing down. And keeping an eye out for the traffic heading the opposite direction. So let's get lights on. We'll extend landing lights.
Allegheny traffic, stationary November 38 Delta Hotel, departing intersection departure of Alpha 2, runway 10 will be departing to the east, IFR.
So right about now, we can start pulling back, slowing down a bit. We've got, speed's good. You can give it the first notch of flaps and start bringing the power back forward. Just a little bit. We're going to try and approach at the blue line. Keep an eye on him. If the traffic gets away in the next minute or two, we might still be able to make a base for 28. See, there they are. Yeah, we might be able to just make a kind of close base for runway 28. But I'm already kind of set up for the we're gonna yeah, we're kind of set up for the right down one, so let's do that. No sense in rushing it. That's stationary 38 Delta Hotel. Heading up to, it looks like Syracuse.
Allegheny traffic, stationary 38 Delta Hotels, will be up to 10, departing out to the east, Allegheny County.
Alright, why is he yelling at me here? Oh, I probably hit the wrong switch. I probably went full flaps with no gear. Allegheny traffic, Twin Cessna 866 Tango Whiskey is right downwind to land, runway 28, full stop, Allegheny. That's fun, you get some VFR traffic. That's one thing that we don't get a ton of on VATSIM, which would be kind of cool. Just a lot of, it's not even air traffic control, really. Let's go props full forward. We'll keep descending, we're at 2,000 feet now. We'll start and just get set up for that final approach. The other thing I need is a flight recorder. See how poorly this landing goes. There's the runway there. We're looking all right. We're right on the blue line. As we turn base, we can go full flaps. But you just get to, yeah, that's one thing about the flight dynamics here. Is you definitely get into a just a situation where you need a lot of power to maintain speed. So a little bit more here. We're still just, yeah, right on the blue line. So we'll have to be careful in this turn, low speed turn. But that's looking real good. So very hilly, but again, we're through with most of the big mountains. We'll keep the power in. Allegheny traffic, 6 Tango Whiskey, right base to land, runway 28, Allegheny. And that's the kind of cool thing about untowered ops, is we're going, you know, we're making decisions based on what the other traffic is doing, and that's, you know, that's cool, that's how it should be. We'll go full flaps now. A little high still, well, the PAP, yeah, we're a little high still. Little high still, but that's all right. We're looking all right. We should have plenty of runway 6,000 feet to work with here on approach. Allegheny traffic, Twin Cessna 866 Tango Whiskey, short final land, runway 28, Allegheny. And this crosswind is going to be kind of a mess. It's coming from the north. So, again, just trying to keep power in. Now, at this point, you know, 80 to 90 knots is pretty good for final. Trying to hit the trees. Now, again, we visited here last in the Boeing 247 because this was, of course, Pittsburgh's airport. So let's keep some power in as we're coming down. Oh, I thought I had it a couple times there. We will vacate to the right and find some parking. Parking brake must have been on. Allegheny traffic, Twin Cessna, 698 Whiskey, clear, runway 28. We'll just park up here with the general aviation parking. There is a small passenger terminal like we talked about for the Spirit flights, but primarily general aviation. All right, welcome everybody to Allegheny County. We're going to run that back real quick. We'll log off of VATSIM, run back the flight, and I'll shut it down and get us on our way. Let's just pull up here. That should be fine. We don't need to go all that way. Let's watch the turn. Out here over Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, coming in to land on runway 28. Finish the flight. Oh, see, and that says, so Sim Toolkit Pro gives me a 66 feet per minute. We'll see how this looks, but it certainly feels harder, and that's what I'm talking about with the flight dynamics on this one. It's just, it's hard to get it just right to the point where you're like, yeah, that was a really good landing. And the flaps, of course, are interesting. They hang down from the bottom. We're still even just a little high here. But you can really see us fighting the crosswind. But yeah, this one did feel pretty good just because I felt like I was able to hold it right off the ground, just even a little close to a tail strike there. And we'll teleport back. All right. That is all set. Let's put parking brake on. Props all the way back. We will bring fixtures down. Kill the throttle. Let's take fuel out of the equation here. The other thing we need to do is turn off our heater. Close up all our cabin air and stuff. Avionics can come off. That's fine. Flaps would be good to bring up, wouldn't they? Gear is down. Fuel pumps can come off. Landing lights off. And then we'll take beacon strobe. We'll leave nav on for now while we get unloaded. It's opening up the door. That is pretty much it. Magneto's off. We're pretty much good to go. So thank you all for coming along. Just a quick flight. We made some progress tonight. Thanks for coming along on this flight to Pittsburgh. Next time we'll be crossing over Ohio into maybe Indiana and even as far as Chicago. So the next one is probably going to be a bit of a longer haul from here. So we'll load up the plane full, get out of Allegheny County, and head towards Chicago. We'll have to pick what airport we want to fly into Chicago. So think about that. There might be a poll in there if we want to try to fly into O'Hare, or if we want to do Midway or one of the smaller, more general aviation focused ones. That is all to decide. My props are still spinning, and I'm not sure why. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, hope you guys have a great time. Fly safe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.